the street lights lit this town like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away.
Didn't add myself to the stage. Give me just a second. How's everybody doing today? How are we doing? Let me see. I think I have my I don't know. My desk is a little funky wonky right now, but that's okay. We'll get it figured out. But welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you guys are having a great Thursday. It is Thursday, the 21st of October. Oh my, where am I? Of August. And summer does not, it feels like fall outside today. I don't know if it's like that where you guys are, but I'm just going to lower it a little bit. But yeah, today it feels like a fall day today. No, thank you. It's like 71 out, but it's like, I don't know. It's just dreary. So welcome in. It's good to see everybody. I see you've got some mods in here. Got the members. We've got the subscribers. We've got just everybody. So welcome in, everyone. I know I'm loving this time frame too. Ooh, fall in New Jersey. I bet it's beautiful. My brother's family is from New Jersey. I'm from Philadelphia. But if you're from Philadelphia, I feel like you're from Jersey too. Because you're always going to the shore. 82 there, Sandy. Oh, I bet it's beautiful. If you live in Colorado, then yeah, it's probably beautiful. That's one of the states that is on my bucket list to visit. I want to go to Utah. I want to go to Idaho. I want to go to all those states out there. It's so pretty. So pretty. I've always been I'm just been an East Coast girl. I do fly to LA every once in a while, but we haven't been out there in a couple years. So hot, like always in Utah. Yeah, Mary Beth. I want to go to Utah. When you were showing pictures in the Patreon, I was like, look at the background. Like I was just looking at the mountains. It's beautiful. Boone. Well, he might. I mean, I saw today on X, it was somebody that was like, I don't know why people are laughing about, inmates like, saying sexual things to Koberger, like that they want to do sexual things to him, because that's just wrong. And nobody should be getting hurt or something along those lines. And I wanted to say something, but I didn't. But this is what I wanted to say along the lines of those 4 victims did not ask to be killed, slaughtered. They were just killed. They were slaughtered. They were butchered. And those kids were actually on the road to success, unlike Brian Koberger, who messed up every chance that he got, and every school that he was in, and everything that he did, he was a mess up. I think it's called karma. That's my personal opinion. I don't want him to get hurt, because I want to hear a stupid tell-all. I'm just, he's going to say something stupid. So I don't want him to get hurt, but I do like that they're taunting him a little bit. That's the talking isn't so bad. Just, the world wants revenge. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy how this case of the Idaho 4 has touched so many people's lives. And this is the only case that I ever can recall where usually in a case, like it'll go from the victim and it'll go to the suspect, right? Because it's, you're going through like the court proceedings and stuff like that. So you talk more about the suspect. But I feel like a lot of channels have done this, have kept like the Idaho 4, victims, their names out there, their, what they like to do, their personalities out there. And, you just feel empathy for those people. So, and their families. Actually, speaking of their families, let's go over to the Facebook page of the Gonzalez family. Haven't been over there in a little while. 1 hour ago. Like, oh man. And I just talked about laughing. I swear I did not go over there before this. It says, should I feel bad? Laugh out loud? Nah, I'm actually laughing right now. I should put in the comments that Aubrey warned him. She did. And someone said, we actually love this for him. Oh, look at these pictures. Texas, here we come. Oh, they're taking their girl to college. Look at Steve. Steve smile. And then I saw these pictures. Look at this. And it says, I love the weekends. I get to spend my time with Steve. I would choose him over and over a million times. He's cute too. I think that's really cute. I like this picture of them. Oh, I think that's so cute. Okay. So, all right. Well, it looks like, they're doing, but I'm glad that they saw that. I'm really glad that they got a chance to see that. So I wanted to actually listen to this with you guys. Whenever we're done reading the documents, I haven't listened to Bill Thompson's. I've maybe listened to maybe 2 minutes of one interview that he's done, and he's kind of done like a little campaign of interviews. So I thought we would review those after we, do the documents. We have like 106 pages left, so we're doing pretty good. But I want to put this up on the screen for you guys because I do want to watch this one. It's it's the police chief that's now is it Gilbertson? That might be his name. He's talking about some of the things that we didn't know before. Like he's going to give us a little bit of, it says police chief reveals new details. So he's going to give us new details of the case. So I thought we'd listen to this. And thank you so much. Thank you, Ladybug. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you for the super sticker. And I bought you. I poked on your name. I didn't mean to do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Body person who's in chat. Oh yeah. She's on Don't Fuck with Cats. Yeah. I love Body. Yeah. Body's, she knows her stuff. She's very intelligent. I like listening to her. I wish she would do videos on here, actually. I asked her if she wanted to come on with me, and she was going to, and then she was busy, and then I never ended up reaching back out to her. I should reach back out to her on Twitter. And be like, do you want to come talk about the Idaho 4 case and like all the new documents? Because I'm sure she would. And I like her too, so. Yeah, she was on the Idaho Massacre podcast also. Yep. Yeah. The first time we listened to it, I didn't know her. And then I met her through this case. Well, actually more of Sebastian's case. And then she come over for Idaho 4 too, because she obviously knows the case. And we were listening to it the second time, and I was like, wait a second, that's Body. I was like, she's on the podcast. I love that. I love that. So yeah, because the second, I don't think I knew her anyway the first time, but the second time I did know her. So I won't probably read this because it's probably gonna be the same thing he says, but well, yeah, we'll just play it. And then there's another one. So maybe I'll just I'll pull this to the side, I'll pin it, and then when we go through all the interviews, we'll go back through these ones because I think it'd be pretty interesting. So we'll start off with this. I'm going to pause it for commentary, and if you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the like button. But before you do that, my name is Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. If you're new here, I don't think I introduced myself. I try to do that. Thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate it. Appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with me. So what we're going to do today is we're going to listen to this and then read through some more of the documents. I was reading through them earlier. They're pretty good. A lot of stuff about like the victims and what happened that night and everything. And then we will go from there. So. Oh yeah, Rox. Did you hear that? Did you hear him call Peru? Was his name Peru out by name? Did you guys hear that? Hey, is she? Oh, he could be Ashley. Yeah. I don't know if it would work, but he could. But he was telling, I mean, he was like, yeah, his name's Peru. I'm like, good grief. Good grief. You just did the one thing that you don't do in prison. I'm pretty sure that's probably the number one thing. Don't snitch. I'm pretty sure that's probably number one. Ugh. I hope Peru isn't in there for a long time, but obviously he is if he's in JSEG, you know, or whatever. Oh gosh. Yeah, he's not, it's not going to be good. Okay, let's watch this video and then I'll be in the chat with you guys.
Moscow, Idaho police.
Oh, by the way, I do love this guy that's talking right now. He's done an awesome job on this case.
Chief Anthony Dollinger responding to the rumors and speculation surrounding the 2022 murder of 4 University of Idaho students.
He took our next guest inside the investigation and settled some of the questions that we've been asking for nearly 3 years. Take a look.
There's a lot of speculation in this case about the cross-country drive. Mm-hmm. Was he identified as a possible before he left town?
No, we did not have his name.
And he was not even on the radar as a likely suspect.
I told y'all that. I said they did not know that. I said those cops that pulled Kohberger over were not planted to pull him over like that, right? Because that would have spooked him, right? If they were watching him, that would not be good, right? But I knew it also because in Indiana, and I think they were on 71 maybe, that they pull you over for everything. And if you have an out-of-state tag, you're 99.9% chance you're going to get pulled over. It's like a drug hub. It's like I drive on like 70 a lot, or 71 and 70. I'm pretty sure it was one of those two that he was on. But yeah, they pull you over. I've been pulled over. And I was like, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I don't even remember what he pulled me over for now. I forget, but it was like, what did I do? Maybe it was like a light was out or something. No, I don't think that was it. I don't remember. I was like 19, but still. And my friend was like, I think it's because you have out-of-state plates. So
when his father came here and drove away with him.
That's correct. Obviously, if we'd have had that information, he would not have been able to leave the area.
So the reported that the FBI was trailing him cross country and then lost him and all. That's all wrong.
Completely wrong. We had lots of different leads, and we tracked down each and every one of them. It was painstaking. And, you know, until we got to the end of this, I can't remember exactly how many people that we looked at, but we did hundreds of interviews with so many different people. And each one of those, it was almost weekly, if not almost daily. We would have a new lead. Our investigators dug right into it and dispelled that rather quickly.
Any indication that he didn't act alone?
No.
Where's the murder weapon?
Don't know. I mean, we looked at every angle, but we live in North Idaho, or it's a rural area, and a K-bar knife is a relatively small item. So it's endless where that could be.
There was some reporting right around the plea deal that there may have been a second weapon involved.
They're showing crime scene photos. Be careful.
Was a second weapon used, or was it just
watching?
All the evidence showed that
I was about to say, I don't think they'll show like the bodies or anything, but they did show some of the crime scene. I wish they wouldn't have shown Maddie's room at all because her mom doesn't want it shown.
There was one singular knife that was used to kill all 4 of the victims.
Would you have gotten probable cause to arrest him without the DNA?
I believe so.
Based on what?
Our investigators were very confident that based off of where we were going with the vehicle and the information that we gathered, we would have got there. I don't know what our timeline would have been, but I believe we would have got there.
Now we're into the prosecution phase. You guys have done this incredible work, big task force,
Son of a bitch,
6
man.
weeks or so, and you managed to roll this up. What was the feeling in the task force when you began to hear they're going to give him a plea?
You know, it's one of those things that we all understand the processes that our legal system has, and it was never dashed out of our minds, or at least in my mind, that it was a possibility. I do know that I was in the room when Bill Thompson gave us that information that they had reached out, the defense had reached out asking if they would be willing to entertain that idea. And it was very quick, just to dispel the whole plea thing as well. Because I know every time somebody hears plea deal, right, the whole word deal makes everybody feel like they're getting off. The suspect's getting off somehow. They're not getting their full extent. Now, the only thing that went off the table on this was the death penalty. And I think Bill Thompson said it best. He said he was sentenced to death. He was sentenced to die in prison.
And then we got the Dateline show.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any indication as to who leaked it all?
Not at this point, and there's not much I can say because I do know that there's still an active investigation into that matter. There was a special prosecutor, a special investigation judge that were appointed.
What was the feeling in the team that had worked so hard that all of a sudden this leak occurred and it was all over the TV as you're going right into trial? I mean, was there a morale effect on the team?
I don't know if there was a morale effect. We rallied together because we all believe that it was wrong, and that, you know, number one, we didn't believe any of our people did it. However, if that was the case, we were ready to hold them accountable. And I know I met with the leadership at Idaho State Police and the FBI, and we talked about it, and we all agreed to, you know, we wanted to be as open and transparent with this investigation as possible, and we have been to this point.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Paul Morrow. Paul, can you get into the details of, was there any defensive wounds or anything like that? Because he says he was confident that he was going to be able to link him to the crime even without the night shift.
Yeah, so one of the things I asked was, were there any fingernail scrapings? Because according to all the reporting, the DNA that they got was a touch DNA, a little bit of touch DNA off the button on the knife sheath, and that's it. And one of the things that surprised me is we've now heard that there were some wounds in the selfie that he's given a thumbs up. His hand looks a little banged up. The students say that there was some indication subsequent to the murders that he had some wounds. So that would argue maybe he got scraped up. The chief put that to bed. He said that there were no fingernail scrapings under the fingernails of any of the victims. And that's normally where you would get great DNA. Said absolutely not. So it doesn't fully account for whatever wounds he had if the students are accurate. There's a little bit of a timeline issue. Some of the students were saying they weren't sure the wounds were before or after the murders. Maybe it was before. But if he says, that is the chief, says that likely he was fully garbed up. We know he had the balaclava. All you could see were the bushy eyebrows. And he says he likely had clothing on, just, you know, chin to feet, that kept them from being able to grab.
They probably couldn't defend.
So I'm looking at the picture, Ladybug, and what it is, it's her, she had a blanket with hearts on it. It's hearts on the blanket is what I'm seeing. So I think that's what it is. I wish I could like zoom in. I mean, I probably can. If I didn't try it on my. Oh, wow. That really, whoa, we were zooming in, guys. Whoa, that thing works. Wow. Wow, it was really touchy that time. Is that supposed to be like that? I bet. Okay. Wow. Okay. It's going super fast. Sorry. I got this MacBook in January, and I'm always have a problem with like zooming in, and like it takes me forever. I normally have to turn my camera off because I don't know, but it just like zoomed right in. And I was like, whoa, is that the way it's supposed to be? I think it is. I think it's supposed to be like touchy like that because it's like, you know, new. It should have been like that this whole time. Okay, so I am going to show the picture, but I don't believe that it's blood. I believe that it's a heart. It's a heart pillow. You'll see the heart too. So So this is the room. See the heart? I know that in the documents, I wish I knew exactly which one. I'll try to find it. There's so many now, but I'll try to find it. But they say that they went to pick it back up from her. I think that they let her have it or something like that. Like take it with her. And then whenever the cops were like, or the DA came in, the prosecutor, he was like, no, you're not supposed to be giving people their stuff back. Bring it all back. That was part of the blanket. You see the heart? I don't know if you guys see it, but it's like, oh, here, let me make it like bigger. I can put me behind it. It's all like a heart. I don't know if I can zoom in anymore. Probably. Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, look at that. That's all I can do though. Oh wait, no, I can do more. Oh wow. Okay. See how it's like going so fast? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's as far as I can go in. But yeah, it's a heart. And then this is just, I don't know what this is beside it. Could be like a remote or something. Yeah, I don't know. This is the only picture that we have of her room. I can zoom out too. Like, I'll have to see if there's any more pictures like that we can find. Oh, a vape? It could be. Yeah, Kathy. Yeah. Yeah. But man, I don't know if, well, I guess if you're not like really a vapor, you wouldn't probably take it, like remember to take it with you when you run down to, Bethany's room. But if you vape, like you'd be taking that with you. But that's probably what it is. Wolf. Okay. So, we will go over to the documents. That was all that was really in that interview. But I do want to go through all of the Bill Thompson interviews. I want to hear what he has to say. I think it'd be pretty interesting. And I think you guys might enjoy it too. So also, I have like a whole list of other like things I wanted to go over with you guys. So we'll get all these tabs taken care of. I have like 50 tabs open. So, but that's just me, Okay. I'm not even on the screen anymore. Look at that. I knew that no, I know that Kaylee had one under her. Because it kind of surprises me. I don't know. I vape. I can't say anything, but I quit smoking. So about 8, 9 years ago, Vincent helped me do that. I would have probably never quit if it wasn't for him. So this is going to be from the Idaho State Police, and they're going to be talking about the victims in this one. But it says here, December 1st, Idaho State Police, Detective Joe Lake, they met with, it's redacted, the redacted of murder victim, Madison Mogan. They agreed to complete the victim background questionnaire and to be interviewed. Okay, so maybe this is like her mother, father, stepfather. That's how it was in the other one that we read when they said the victim questionnaire. So this person who fondly recalled taking this redacted to concerts, games, and events, Madison Mogan and fellow murder victim Kaylee Gonzalez had been best friends since the 6th grade. The two were always together. Madison Mogan was in a relationship, and this person believed him to be a good kid. Madison had Maddie had an internship with an insurance company and worked in the talent acquisitions, which she liked. Maddie liked coffee shops and was a regular gym goer. This person maintained regular contact with Maddie, but does not know much about her social life or college life. This person doesn't know why, how, or who killed Maddie. I don't know why her name's redacted there. Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. This person was 45. Doesn't say if it's male or female. So this is Joe Lake again, and they're going to talk about murder victim Xana. And this person agreed to complete the victim background questionnaire and to be interviewed. So this person is redacted to both redacted, Xana Kernodle, and redacted. Okay, so this might be her dad. It says who is in Washington State University. That would be Jasmine. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is Jeff, but he telephoned redacted about 3 times per week, regularly visited them, and would fly them to his home in Arizona. Yeah. At every opportunity he could. Xana was in a relationship with fellow murder victim Ethan Chapin. He felt they had a great relationship. Xana was good friends with redacted, and the two were roommates the prior year. Xana recently dropped out of her sorority because of the $1,000 fee. That's a lot. So he helped Xana financially. He bought her a vehicle and paid the insurance. He also, here we go. We're going to find out now. Jeff also fixed the broken hinges on the front door of 1122 King Road, Moscow, Lake Tahoe County, Idaho, residence where Xana lived and the murders occurred. So he didn't fix a lock on her door. He fixed the main door. And that's what I said. Oh, I've been saying this since the beginning. Because I said, why would her father, right? Because we heard that the backslider door was broke. We heard the front door was broke. I said, if there was a broken main door in that house, her dad's going to fix that main door before he goes and fixes a lock on her bedroom door, right? Just because, so the main part of the house, everything's secure, right? Like, so no one can get in there because someone can bust through a lock in a door. So I guess he fixed the hinges. I don't know what was wrong with the hinges. Maybe one broke. And that's why the door was opening all the time. That could be it. That could probably be it. And thank you, Joanne. How are you doing? Thank you for the super sticker. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing good. Thank you. Yeah, the front door, not the bedroom door. Yeah. Crazy. That blanket did have a heart pattern. It's a Victoria's Secret Valentine's Day blanket. Oh, why do I remember that? I feel like I do. I used to shop there all the time. Oh man, I got so many bags. I need to get rid of those bags. They're in like a suitcase, and the suitcase is Victoria's Secret. I'll be loving me some Victoria's Secret. I used to love that place. Thank you. Oh, I don't know. Like F you for fixing the door almost? I don't know. I do love me Victoria's Secret. I do. They get me every time we go to the mall. But it's hard to get into ours because when you go there, there's like the skincare counter and then the people that want to straighten your hair and they all try to like attack you. And it's like, I don't want you to touch my hair or my skin. So this is definitely Jeff. Oh, it actually says what he did. So, okay. It says, he broke the hinge he fixed the broken hinges on the door. And then it says, where Xana lived and the murders occurred. And it says, a redacted stated the front door was barely hanging on the hinges. So he used longer screws to secure the hinges. He recalled the door had an operable spring hinge. That's probably why the door kept coming open. Xana wasn't scared of anything. She was a capable person and a state champion gymnast. She wasn't the type to lead someone on, and she would handle advances with classes. He doesn't know why, how, or who killed Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, or Maddie, but believes the person deserves the death penalty. He put that in there. Oh, what? I hit the button on accident. Okay. This is it. Okay. So the next one, Joe Lake met with somebody for information about his friendship with the victims. Okay. Of the quadruple murder. He agreed to complete the victim background questionnaire and to be interviewed. So this person was the friend, I'm going to say, to murder victim Ethan Chapin, and had a prior relationship with Xana Kernodle, who was in a relationship with Chapin. This person also had a previous relationship with surviving roommate victim, and it's redacted. This person stated Kernodle had a lot of admirers, but she and Chapin were perfect for each other. The night before the murders, Chapin told this person It can be difficult to be in a relationship with Kernodle because she draws so much attention. This person stated if Chapin was confronted by anyone, he'd remain calm and he'd prefer not to have a confrontation. So this person doesn't know why, or how, why they murdered the victims. So this person was 20. This is Darren Gilbertson, who was just on the TV, or on the video TV. So Brett Payne met with somebody. They agreed to complete the victim background questionnaire, but were too distraught at the loss of, this is redacted, this is murder victim Madison Mogen, to be interviewed. That's sad. I bet that's her mom. Per the VBQ forms, Mogen was a strong, loving, smart, and amazing person. Mogen was also outgoing, happy, thoughtful, cared about others, and loved to learn. It says so maybe it's the Laramies. I don't know. Do not know how, why, or who murdered Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, or Ethan on November 13th in King Road. Additional follow-up was made. They did not feel they could provide any additional insight into the murders. Yeah, I'd say that's her mom. Maybe, yeah. White female, 45. So then Detective Adams and Detective Lake met with some people to discuss her relationship with the murder victims from November 13th at 1122 King Road. This person had previously been interviewed on November 18th by Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Ramirez. This person agreed to complete the victim background questionnaire and agreed to a second interview. She had been friends to victims Kaylee and knew victims Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. It says and so Ann, Dylan, and Bethany, I'm assuming. This person knew Gonzalez had been in a relationship with, and it's redacted, and had an occasional relationship with someone else. And this person was Chapin's, redacted, within the Greek life, and Chapin's girlfriend Kernodle was good friends with, it's redacted. And it says knows they all use Snapchat and some used other social media. This person encouraged Gonzalez to get back into dating and encouraged her to use Tinder. This person does not know why or how or who murdered, the victims, but feels the person could have been acting out of rage or a stalker or a robbery, a love interest on one of the roommates, or even an angry neighbor. Well, at least she gave some, people. She's like, it might be, might be this, might be that. So then Special Agent Travis Shirley and Joe Lake conducted a walk-in interview at Moscow Police Department. And then following is a summary of what happened. So this person drives and redacted and begins his workday during the late hours of the night. While heading to work during the week of November 21st, 2022, he witnessed a person loading a white four-door vehicle with personal effects near the intersection of Wallenta and Lauder in Moscow, Latah County, Idaho, at approximately 11:30 p.m. This person, a former police officer, had seen the news about an investigative interest in a white vehicle and thought he would provide the information to law enforcement. He described the male loading the car as being 5'8" to 6'1". That's a huge difference. And this was a cop, an ex-cop. Lean build, a blonde hair, and clean cut. 5'8" to 6'1". That's the whole range of a normal, size guy. That's good grief. Okay, so this is the Moscow Police Department requested Idaho State Police to investigations to assist with multiple homicides in Latah County. The victims were identified as Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. So then it says ISP Detective Jeffrey Talbot was assigned as the lead crime scene investigator. On November 20th, 2022, the MPD received a tip of possible blood at the University of Idaho Arboretum. Nothing of evidentiary value was located. Okay. And then it says Brian Koberger, I said victim, suspect. This is property, it looks like. Oh, they were just the photos they took. And then that's just saying what they did when they went there. So same thing, they were called to assist. And it says, I oversaw the collections of items from the residence requested by defense counsel, Kootenai County Chief Public Defender Ann Taylor. All items collected were turned over to MPD. Oh, I hope we have a list. I hope it's a different list than what we have. Okay, we do. On January 6, 2023, ISP Sergeant Darren Gilbertson, Detective Gideon Roberts, Detective Hugh Powell, Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Ed Jacobson, FBI SA Travis Shirley, FBI SA Rob Hilly, MPD Detective Brett Payne, MPD Detective Danny Vargas, and I returned to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Latah County, Idaho for further processing of the requested at the request of KCCPD Taylor. Okay, so this is at the house. I thought this was going to be at Brian's. Maybe it'll be down further. I hope they listed it. I photographed the items while the other personnel packaged the items. The following was collected. Okay, let's see. So they collected nightstand collected from floor 2 west bedroom, pink colored bedspread located on floor 2 west bedroom, blue colored blanket located on floor 2 west bedroom, 5 pillows located on floor 2 west bedroom, mattress located on floor 2 west bedroom, bed frame floor 2 west bedroom, mattress located in floor 3 east bedroom, bed frame located in floor east bedroom, 2 pillows located on bed of floor east bedroom, shelf with items located on east wall of floor 3 east bedroom, nightstand located in floor 3 east bedroom, pillow off of bed located in floor 3 east bedroom. The items were collected and transported to MPD so that they'd have them. Okay. So then we come down here and they interviewed somebody at the North Idaho Correctional Institution regarding their interactions with Brian Koberger. Both of them had been housed at the Latah County Sheriff's Office, and they were jailed with Koberger after his arrest. The interviews were conducted separately and were audio recorded. All evidence was turned over to Moscow. Okay, you better have a damn printout of this. On March 1st at about 1:10 p.m., they interviewed this person regarding his interactions with Koberger. So this is what it says. What follows is not intended to be exact transcript of the interview. For further, detail, listen to audio recording after being advised of his Miranda rights, confirming he had not been ordered to talk with us, advised of the purpose of the interview and that the interview could be recorded. This person provided the following information. Okay, grab a drink really quick. Okay. He couldn't remember the exact date, but he believed Koberger had been placed in their pod a few days after New Year's Day. After arriving in their pod, Koberger immediately sat down and watched the news about his arrest, watching multiple channels that were covering the story. I can't believe they let him in a pod like that. Koberger said, wow, I'm on every channel. Koberger was very quiet and it was very awkward having him in the pod. Koberger was highly intelligent and analytical, always trying to figure out what you were doing, but didn't know common knowledge things. Told you he had no common sense, i.e. the difference between 2 muscle cars. Koberger's eyes were creepy, I guess, but other than that, he seemed like a pretty normal guy. He didn't talk much to Koberger. He didn't talk to Koberger very much, but when he did, their conversation was casual, small talk, never about Koberger's case. Koberger would use, I'm just calling him BK. BK would use 3 standard size bars of soap per week due to his hour-long showers and excessive hand washing. They actually let him take an hour-long shower, didn't say nothing to him. That pod, man, they put him in a nice pod. Hour-long shower. That's insanity. There's other, you know what I mean? Like when you're in a jail with other people in a pod, they have to, you use the same shower. There's not like a bunch of showers. There's one shower for everybody. So you got 50 guys in there, or 20 guys at least, you know, maybe on a good day, 10, I don't know, but you have a lot of people in there and they all going to want to take a shower, right? I don't know. But man, he was just washing his hands. Just, I wonder what soap. I'm going to have to ask somebody. I know a couple people that's been to jail. And some jails are like, you know what I mean? Some stuff's like common in all jails. I wonder if like their soap is. I'm just curious to know if that's what broke him out. Like if it was like really hard, like harsh soap or something. But it says here he was housed with Koberger or BK for about 3 weeks in total before he was transferred. BK told him his favorite movie was American Psycho with Christian Bale. At about 1:28 p.m., Detective Schreck and I interviewed this other person regarding his interactions with Koberger. What follows is not intended to be, okay, yeah, exact. And he read Miranda rights. So this is another person that was housed with Koberger. He was housed with BK from early January to February 15th. Okay. BK enjoyed watching the news about his case unless it began talking about his family or friends, at which point he changed the channel immediately. He doesn't want anybody to know. He wants to wear like that Jekyll and, you know, Mr. Jekyll or whatever it is, Mr. Jekyll or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like he wants to wear the two costumes, like be somebody around his family and his so-called friends, and then be somebody that he is on the inside, just like when he was younger, when he was 15 and 16 on Tappa Talk or whatever, talking about how he feels like he's a worthless piece of meat and he won't be with his family much longer. And this might be their last Christmas together. And he's like 16 saying that. I have visual snow. I feel like I departmentalized for myself or something like that, he said. He needed help. I don't know. He needed like in care help or something. But it says as time continued, BK stopped watching the news related to his case almost completely. BK analyzed everything. He wanted to know why people had preferences on anything. He psychoanalyzes everything. They talked about his case sometimes, but never. Okay, so they talked about this person's case sometimes, but never BK's. BK spent most of his time on the communication tablet talking with people, typically his mom. I bet you that redacted as it says mom, who he told to retain an attorney after he had seen whatever on the news. BK washed his hands excessively using 3 bars of soap per week, which caused his hands to always be red. BK showered every day and wanted new bedding and clothes every day. Does he know where he's at? Hey, 163-214. You are in jail. You are in prison now. You are not. This is not a hotel. You would think this was a hotel. By the way, that he says he wants new clothing and new sheets every day. I do that. I almost every day. I put like every other day or every 3 days. I put new sheets on the bed because we have dogs that go up there, and I'm just OCD. But I didn't murder anybody, so I can do that. BK, he's going to be hating life. He's going to be hating life. And thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate that. If you guys don't mind, will you take a second, hit the like button for me? And if you guys really would love to, you can always subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you. Let me actually put you guys up here really quick. I forgot to do that earlier. That way I can see the chat better. Me having the iPad over here is really helping though. So, okay. And then we'll do that. Okay, so we got chat, goal. Okay. Go back to reading. So Koberger or BK was very smart, easy to get along with, but was hard to talk to because he talked over him due to BK's vocabulary and topics of conversation. Probably using big words on him. I will say though, I feel like people in jail and prison, they're kind of, in a way, they have to learn how to like spell words. Well, now they don't because they have tablets. But before they had tablets, they didn't have like spell check and stuff inside jail. So they'd have to learn how to like write that stuff out. But they might not know bigger words. I don't know. Maybe that's what Koberger tried to do. So BK also talked about his education a lot. Well, you didn't get your doctorate. That sucks. BK loved baseball, with the Yankees being his favorite team. I hate the Yankees now. BK also liked to watch court TV and was very interested in the Murdaugh trial. Oh, I did pretty well when we did the Murdaugh trial on this channel. Once the interviews were complete, I transferred the audio. Okay. Yeah, we followed the Murdaugh case here. It was insanity. It says the detective, it says they interviewed somebody, date of birth 1979, regarding her interactions with Kootenai County Public Defender Ann Taylor. Say what? Okay, whatever. This person interviewed, redacted, regarding her interaction with Kootenai County Public Defender Ann Taylor. This interview was conducted at Spokane County Jail. Oh, this would be Xana's mom, probably, where she was an inmate. I'm going to say that's her. So she advised she had met with a lawyer she believed to be Ann Taylor on multiple occasions when she was an inmate in the Kootenai County Jail. And then now she's in Spokane County Jail, and she was wanted in Nez Perez County. Oh my good God. I'm glad she's doing better. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It says that this person was representing her on a recent charges involving controlled substances. She advised her last charge was approximately 4 days after her daughter, Xana Kernodle, had been murdered. I showed her a photograph of Ann Taylor. She said this was not the person she knew as Ann Taylor. This would have been after the interview she did with Banfield too, because we watched that not too long ago. And that interview, I'm really positive it was in the beginning of January, right after Brian got arrested, like the first week of January, maybe the 5th or the 8th, something like that. I think she was on there twice, like maybe on the 5th and then back on the 8th. But this is February 14th, so maybe when she saw the picture, she was like, "Oh shit, that wasn't the lawyer that I had," right? Because she was saying that Ann was her lawyer. It says she described the lawyer she had met with was a white female in her 30s who was approximately 5'6", 180 pounds with shorter length brown hair. We know this is Kara. Kara said she never met the person in the picture I was showing her. I asked her where she had gotten the name Ann Taylor. She said someone has showed her a Reddit thread. Who did it? Which one of you? Where it stated her attorney was Ann Taylor. I told her that Ann Taylor was the head public defender for Kootenai County, and her name would be on paperwork because it was her office that was defending her, not necessarily Ann Taylor herself. So Kara expressed regret in having confused the identity of the public defender she had met with. Man, it took 2.5 years for that to come out, you know? Like she's like, "I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to do that." So on March 8th, the detectives in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they spoke briefly with somebody regarding his purported connection with Ethan Chapin and Brian Kohlberger before the homicide of Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. This person was initially unwilling to speak with me, but eventually provided minimal details of the incident. Okay, let's see. On March 7th, 2023, I received information from Detective Vargas regarding a purported connection between, look at this, it's Ethan's redacted, but Chapin's not. Or maybe there's used last name. So maybe this is redacted. So someone, Chapin and Kohlberger. Okay, so they provide the following information. This person was an inmate at the Kootenai County office jail. They had spoken with a reporter who was inquiring about BK. This person told the reporter there was an inmate later identified as, and it's redacted, who claimed to know BK because they were at Washington State University at the same time and were friends, and Chapin because they were in the same fraternity. So would Washington State have the same fraternity as Idaho? Because he said he went to Washington State. That's weird. On March 8th, 2023, at about 12:25 p.m., I contacted this person via phone to schedule an interview. Okay, this person was curt, angry, and initially unwilling to speak with me, but after I advised him of the purpose of my contact, he eventually provided minimal details. Okay, let us know. A cellmate in the jail overheard him tell his attorney he knew Chapin and fabricated the rest of the information regarding his connection with BK. What's wrong with people? Seriously. What the hell's wrong with people? Who inserts themselves into a quadruple homicide? Who? I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, I cannot see me picking up my phone and calling the police and being like, hey, police officers, and making up a damn story. Hey, I live I was at the U of I, and there was a tunnel, and I went, and it was just like a manhole, but there was a tunnel under there. So I went under there, and there was a whole other universe under there. There's a whole other world. I think Kohberger was down there too. And welcome in, everybody. This is insanity. It says, but he did know Chapin. I don't even believe that now. But only casually due to their membership in the same fraternity, but different chapters he was at WSU and Chapin at University of Idaho. Okay. He had last seen Chapin at a party several weeks before the homicides, but couldn't remember any additional details. He had never met BK or had any connection with him personally or professionally. He did not have any additional information to provide and was unwilling to be interviewed in person or again due to his frustration with the incident and his full schedule. So this guy gets mad that he makes up a story about knowing Brian and Ethan, right? And then the cops call him and ask him about it. And then he gets pissed off because the cops want to ask him what he knew. Somebody make that make sense. Jesus, take the wheel at this point. So then on March 9th at about 9:26 p.m. Oh, look at this. What's this? Okay, it says, after providing redacted my contact information and requesting he contact me if he remembered anything else, he ended the call. Okay. So it says on March 9th at 9:26 a.m., redacted contacted me via phone regarding alleged harassment of his family and friends by the reporter identified as Sean Cohen of the Daily Mail. I was going to say, I know that guy. He was the guy that was on Banfield trying to break news and stuff. I think he's the one that said that Brian Kohberger was at the Magna Greek or something like that. So, man, they're calling people out by name. I'm liking that. They didn't redact that name. It said, who has spoken with redacted due to all the activity taking place in Washington State. I referred him to the local law enforcement agencies in Pullman, Washington. You lied to me. I'm not going to help you out. You can just go to Pullman. How old was that person? 23. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would love to do in life. Inserting myself in an investigation, a murder investigation, that's just not one of them. I mean, we talk about cases and we, deep dive and we do all things like timeline stuff here, but we ain't going out and messing with people, right? We just don't do that. Okay. So this person interviewed Washington State University, and it's redacted, but it says date of birth 1960. So probably a professor. On 3 occasions. The first occasion was December 30th, 2022 at the Moscow Police Department. The second time, January 3rd. That was a telephone call. And the third time, January 11th. The purpose of these interviews was to discuss his interactions and impressions of his former teaching assistant, Brian Kohberger. So it's the professor that was his, that he was the TA for. Okay, so I'm trying to see if there's anything that's, yeah, this is all redacted, but I'm reading it. It's nothing that's, okay, so maybe here, because it didn't say anything about him up there. So I'm going to call him Professor. Professor knew that BK was going to be one of his, and it's redacted, I guess, TAs in June or July of 2022. He did, maybe, or like PhD student. He didn't meet BK in person until August. BK was an incoming PhD student in the department. He knew BK was from a small private school back east. The professor said BK seemed sharp and personable enough when he first met him. The professor had not read BK's master dissertation. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do your research? At least read his last paper he did. Yeah, I mean, how did he get in the PhD program? What did he do? What did he write? What was his last paper he wrote? And that professor was like, hot damn, he's going to Washington State to be a PhD. to get his PhD? Like, I want to know. Was that the survey that he did? I don't know. But this person should have looked. So the professor had no part in BK's acceptance to the PhD program, or that he was going to be assigned BK as a TA, I guess. I asked the professor about a couple of incidents of unprofessional behavior associated with BK that I had read in a letter from the faculty advising BK that he had lost his TA position. The professor said the first incident that occurred with with BK was a time when Redacted was in his office and was wanting to leave to go home. This was on a Friday. BK showed up at the end of the day and wanted to talk. Redacted said it was pretty clear that he wanted to leave and that BK wanted to talk. The professor said this was not the first time this has happened with BK, where he would show up late in the day and want to talk. The professor said this behavior had bothered him for a while. He said he would typically have his 40 hours in by the end of Thursday and did not want to work late on Fridays and resented it when BK would show up to talk on Fridays. He's like, he pissed me off. I asked him what BK would want to talk about. The professor said nothing in particular and that there was nothing remarkable about any of the conversations. The professor said some of the subjects that were discussed in the past involved how to brief a case or how to deal with plagiarism, or also just general recreation activities on the Palouse. After 10 to 20 minutes, there would be an exchange that perturbed. I don't even know this word. Why can't I say that? Perturbed? Okay. Why can I read this? We're going to do this. It'll tell me. Perturbed. I can't even read. Perturbed. I can't even read that today. What is wrong with me? Perturbed. Don't be using big words in here, guys. Perturbed. I think it's professor, where Koberger wouldn't get to the point and let this person go home. At one point, BK told the professor that he was snarky. The professor became tired and frustrated and told BK to leave his office, and he did not. The professor got up and walked out of his office. He said BK followed him out of his office and continued talking to him. The professor said he walked down the hall to the main office where he knew BK had some run-ins with others. Here it is. After several late afternoon/evening encounters, the professor wasn't sure if BK was trying to curry favor or whether he was trying to control the professor's time. At some point, the professor concluded BK was power tripping, and by using the professor's time and preventing him from leaving his office was a way of controlling him. Wow. The professor advised he has had over 8, TAs in the past and has never had a problem with any of them. The professor talked about Koberger walking and talking with him as Redacted walked to his car. The professor remembered BK bragging about outsmarting the parking regulations on campus. Why is he always getting in trouble with cars? The professor talked about difficulty in getting BK to complete his task as a teaching assistant. Professor said he had been advised by the department higher-ups to be more direct in making his exceptions clear to BK. Professor advised BK's behavior didn't really change from the time before the homicides or after the homicides. He said he never received any direct complaints about BK interacting with any of the undergraduate students in his capacity as a teaching assistant. Well, then why'd you fire him? The professor further advised the female grad student didn't like BK because he was that off-putting. The professor said we should talk to the female front office staffer who was an undergraduate student working on a work-study program who had made complaints about BK's behavior. The professor advised that he had secondhand information that he had made several of the female PhD students very uncomfortable because of interactions they had with BK. I asked the professor about which grad students we may want to interview that may have a problem with BK. He advised there were 2 students. He gives the names. He said they were fellow PhD students, and that one was a grad student. Where's it say here? Okay, so it doesn't say anything right there, but I don't know who attended it. Attended a mixer at it's redacted, where 20 to 25 people from the department attended. This person was accompanied by his wife, and he recalled nothing unusual during that mixer. This person talked about the process by which BK's behavior eventually led to his removal as a teaching assistant. I think it's the professor, advised he initially supported Koberger until after a second event that the professor could not remember the details of. You didn't write it up, like have a write-up sheet. If you do something wrong, like you write up somebody 3 times, you're out. So you would write it on the sheet. You'd put his name, the infraction, and what you're going to do to help the infraction, right? To make sure it doesn't happen again. And then you'd have them sign it or something. I mean, I am not a professor, but I would think you maybe have a couple little slips like that in your drawer, but just keep it all in your noggin and then forget about it. So it says the professor advised Koberger's removal was a result of a cumulative effect of his behavior. After the homicides occurred, the professor said he did consider the possibility that BK had committed the murders. No way. You said he didn't act any differently after or before the murders, but did I just read that? Have you heard that anywhere? Because I haven't watched any news. I'm going through this with y'all. So this guy said, after the homicides occurred, he did consider the possibility that Koberger had committed the murders. The professor characterized this as a fleeting thought. You should have fleeted your thought right over to the freaking Moscow Police Department. Oh man, you're just, because then they would have ran his car and they would have been like, oh, a Hyundai Elantra, that's what we're looking for. That's crazy to me. I got to write that page down. That's insanity. I had not heard this. Hey, Captain, how you doing? You have been hiding. Yeah, you have. I'm glad I looked down and saw you. Welcome in. I forgot to pin my oh, I don't. That's not it. I'm going to. I'm just going to pin it like that. That should work. I don't know. If you'd like to join our channel membership, we'd love to have you. I just realized I didn't pin that at the beginning. Okay. So let's go back to reading. So, oh my God. Okay. The professor advised BK had alienated or irritated several female PhD students. Oh, wait, hold on. I missed a spot. Okay. The professor considered BK's power tripping / controlling tendencies in addition to being socially challenged. The professor advised BK had alienated or irritated several female PhD students, as well as at least one female professor with his behavior. The professor said Koberger never discussed knives or edged weapons. We asked the professor about a survey BK had conducted with persons who had committed crimes. He said he was unaware of this and that we should contact some other staffer about Koberger's PhD activities. You're his teacher. You're his professor, right? Okay. So the professor talked about a conversation he had with BK early on where they discussed the idea of sexual harassment. Professor knew that BK had alienated himself from the female grad students by this time. This included 6 or 7 women. When was this, I wonder? BK came up with a line of thought where he said that if BK had heard about redacted behaving inappropriately with women and what would redacted do to defend himself against a false allegation. Redacted found this line of thought to be troubling and thought BK was trying to put himself in a position of power. He said he did not remember any physical injuries visible on BK after the homicides occurred, and then the conversation ended and they gave it to Moscow police. So then they spoke again with somebody on January 3rd via telephone. It says this person advised after thinking more about BK, he considered the issue about whether BK was power tripping or just socially inept. He considered that it didn't matter. I think this is the professor again, but They talked about having coffee with a female staffer named Redacted and had concluded that BK was power tripping. This person said he thought she was right on her opinion. They said BK told him that. Redacted said BK told him that BK lived near to where Redacted would park at work. They said he found it odd that because after BK was arrested and the media reported where BK lived, this person advised that the building depicted by the media as BK's residence was completely different than the one BK had indicated to this person. So yeah, he didn't like that hellhole looking crap shoot neither. He probably picked out a nicer apartment complex. Was like, yeah, I live over here. Don't look over there. I don't live a steptoe. Don't even know what a steptoe is. But we've been inside steptoe. We've taken the virtual tour. And I've talked to somebody that cleans those actual apartments. I do have that connection. I have a source. Oh my God, I have a source. Look at me. But yeah, they said that they go in and they try to clean it, but it's so bad because the students just don't care that they can't. Like, they're just like, it's just so old, and they haven't updated those apartments since like the 70s when they built them. So yeah. Did you know that? So he was like, that's not where I live. So this person also wanted to make it known that he was willing to assist the Latah County prosecutor in the case if he could be of service. Okay, that's a little weird, but okay. I asked the professor about BK's research work. The professor advised we follow up with the program director on how oversaw BK's research. Okay, that didn't work. So then that's the end of the discussion there. And then on January 11th, FBI agent, I cannot say his name, Zach Zawinski. I don't know. I probably said it the best the first time. But he advised he had spoken with people about the incident. And then he had spoken with 3 people. And they had reminded Redacted about a test question regarding the difficulty in prosecuting our crimes, our APE crimes. Redacted had asked Kohlberger to look at the question he had written and to make a revision to the question. When this person received the revised question back from Kohlberger, he found it to be useless because the language in the question would be triggering to many students. This person advised the language was dismissive of the victims. This person gave me a printout of the original question and the revised question BK had produced and had given to him on November 10th, 2022. They scanned the printouts and they have placed them in some disc that contains the audio recording of the interview. We further discussed incidents with Kohlberger that had already been covered in previous interviews. These topics included BK's issues he had with females in the program, as well as discussion regarding the process of his TA position being terminated. He discussed his past experience with TAs compared with current TAs. He discussed his opinion that BK should have been kept on as a TA because this person believed that Redacted had an obligation to continue to honor their commitment in offering him a TA position. Who is this person? Oh, it's Redacted. I wish I knew. Okay. BK relied on that commitment, and if Redacted was going to remove that from him, that person needed to make sure they had thoroughly documented the reasons why. Well, I agree with that too. I agree with you there because he didn't document shit. This person said he was concerned that removing BK from the TA position without doing so would open this person up to a civil lawsuit from BK. BK, why didn't you do that instead of murdering 4 people? So this person talked about a situation where he was meeting with Redacted and BK in his office in order to prepare final exam questions for his undergraduate class. BK announced he had to have a Zoom meeting with another student. This person assumed BK was advising he had to leave for the meeting and could not help with the exam prep. Instead, BK proceeded with the Zoom meeting in the office, preventing everybody from preparing the exam. So he just, I'm just going to take the call right here. You're going to have class. You're having an exam. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, that's what he did. Instead, BK proceeded with the Zoom meeting. And then they had to tell Koberger to leave. So this person advised he had provided him with slightly different version of the revised exam question referenced above. This person did recall discussing the question with, and it's redacted. We discussed BK's tendency to stare at people. This person thought that BK did this in a way to display power or dominance. This person mentioned a senior named, and it's redacted, that complained that BK stared at her a lot in class and made her feel uncomfortable. This person advised he had not observed any inappropriate behavior from BK at any undergraduate students. He said he thought BK did a good job in correcting poorly written answers, and he did not observe bias or inappropriate toning and grading. One student had made a complaint about this, but redacted did not see it. Yeah, you didn't. I don't think any of the professors looked. I don't think any of y'all even looked. You're like, oh, that guy's a little weird, always messing with students, always doing this, always doing that. He's following them out of the building. He's following them. He's not letting them get out of their classrooms. He's blocking the doors. He's just being overbearing. He's staring. He's doing all the things. Let's keep him. Would you like to come back next semester? Like and you're paying for his schooling and stuff, like a percentage of his schooling, a percentage of his apartment. Y'all are nuts. First, every job you get, every job you have, right? You have 3 chances. And sometimes you'll have a 4th chance. You'll get like a warning. Then you get your first write-up. Then you get your second write-up. Then when you get your 3rd write-up, you're out the door. No questions asked. It's documented. Apparently they didn't have a system like that. And that's very strange to me that you would have these students. You rely on these TAs and stuff, and you pay for their schooling and you do all these things. And then they're just running amok and you're just like looking the other way. Like, he's good at grading papers. That's probably what it was. Probably what it is. Okay, so then a couple people interviewed. That's just a really long name. I don't know why. But regarding her interactions with Brian C. Koberger, I love how they spell his name wrong. I hope he sees this. He will. So she said the first time she met BK was with another PhD student. She named them, and they're friends who came to redacted where they acquired their master's degrees. This meeting occurred at the graduate student orientation. BK came up to them, and redacted said she instantly had a bad feeling about him. She told her friend how she felt, and this other person said to give him a chance. So she said she had confronted BK early on about the way he was speaking to women. She said she noticed early on that BK did not like people that were not of his demographic. She explained that there are a diverse class of different types of people in their class. Yeah, he's from the Pocono. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to be open, buddy. On one day, BK was being rude to a deaf student, and the name's redacted, said she called him out on how he spoke to her. Redacted described how BK's mannerisms also contributed to his rudeness. Redacted further described that BK would stare at people in an intimidating way. She said she would avoid sitting next to BK in class. She told Koberger the way he was speaking was condescending and that he speaks that way to women and that it made her feel uncomfortable. Several of the students supported her in her rebuke of BK. BK responded to her by saying, "I care how you feel, but you are wrong." Oh, good. I'm sorry if you hear the weed eater out there. The gardeners are here doing their thing. So since that incident, she said she felt targeted by him. She became emotional at this point in the interview. She said BK has since paid her a lot more attention. She said BK has stood in a way that she couldn't get out of her desk and then started to talk to her. She said BK would talk to her into the ground, about how she was wrong about whatever the topic was he was interested in. BK would also come into her office and stand in the doorway and would not take any cues that she didn't want to talk with him. BK would try to talk to her about the Ted Bundy murders because he knew she was interested in true crime. He also name-dropped a former professor of his, Catherine Ramsland, we know, admired redacted and wanted to meet her, but not based on her association with BK. She said if she was going to meet her, it would be because of her own initiative, not based on BK. She said she was not interested in the fact that since the Moscow murders, some people were comparing them to the Ted Bundy murders that occurred at a college sorority, and that BK wanted to talk about those murders with her. She said BK studied sexual burglars and their motivations and decision-making. She told Redacted to start keeping track of Kohlberger's behavior towards her. She made an informal report to them, it's redacted, but she didn't like the way they responded because she felt they could not adequately from retaliation. She says she continued to report her experiences, as well as redacted the program chair and other professors about feeling unsafe. So she wants multiple people. She says she recently wrote in a graduate questionnaire that she continued to feel targeted and didn't know how to handle the situation. She said they were required a discrimination training because of the things that BK had said unofficially. Yeah, they all had to take that class, remember, because of Brian. Like make him take the class by himself. Hey, Jet Set. How's your nephew doing, Ashley? I didn't see, so Ashley Higgins. Put 2 Ashleys in the chat. There's probably nothing. I'll make sure I keep my eye out. Captain, you live in Illinois? I would have never thought that. I don't know why. I would have never put you there. I would have put you in like California or something. Okay, play nice. Okay, so it says here, it says BK had been asked if she would be uncomfortable procreating given the fact she had a disability. I'm done, son. You hear that? I know. I just heard a bunch of dogs barking downstairs. Bad. Ooh. That's bad. Sorry if my dog barks because she can hear the dogs barking downstairs. She just woke up. So Kohlberger asked somebody that has a disability if she would feel comfortable procreating, given the fact that she has that disability. Shut the front door. I'd love to meet him. I really would. I really, really, really would. I have a lot to say. I have a whole lot to say. He wouldn't like me much. He wouldn't like me at all, actually. He'd be like, I'm not meeting with that one. So he said, okay, so this is exactly what it was. Kohlberger asked, and it's redacted, then the girl's name's redacted, if she would be comfortable procreating given the fact that she had a disability. Like what? Like, it's insanity. I don't know if Ashley is still in here because I don't see her comment, but yeah. Crazy. That took the wind out of my sails. Like, God, I feel for that girl. I know what that feels like in a way. Then not the procreating part, but wow. So she said she started keeping track of how often he was late to class. She said she kept track of the number of times that he aggressively stared at her during class. In one class, she said he stared at her 9 times. She described instances of him following her after class multiple times, said he always seemed to want to be in the general area of her and others in the program that did not want to have anything to do with him. She talked about a student, female, and she gives the name, who recently had her apartment broken into. She complained to graduate housing, but they didn't help her. This person said Kohlberger took an interest in her. Wait, hold on. Did I read that right? Yeah. She said the person or the reason this redacted and the other redacted talked to BK was because they had difficulty understanding English and they seemed to be the only ones that would continue to talk with BK because they couldn't understand a word he was probably saying, or, not all the words. BK went to the apartment and tried to support redacted. This occurred towards the end of October. Oh. Redacted said she had the sense that everything BK does is calculated. She said he is intimidated by her friend because she stands up to him. When this person is around, BK leaves the other girl alone. When this person leaves, BK then turns around and starts talking to redacted. She said the way that Kohlberger behaves towards her is markedly different when redacted is not around. She talked about one day when this person was gone and BK would not leave her alone and prevented her from leaving the class. She said she thought BK's motivation was gratification he got from controlling her. He wants to be seen as the strongest, smartest, most important person in the room. She said their class has sat for hours in class listening to him arguing with the teacher about his project. He always wanted to talk about offender decision making. BK gets very defensive when he feels like he is being questioned. On one occasion, the professor, I think, had to cut him off when he was going on and on during one of his monologues. BK responded that he felt it was rude when someone would interrupt him. This person said Kohlberger would use qualifying words in an effort to hide behind saying offensive things. She said one time in November, she found Kohlberger in her office. She felt uncomfortable and left. She shared an office with 3 other people and didn't feel like she should have told him not to be in her office. Wait. She didn't feel like she had. Okay. When she came back, BK was in redacted office with his body turned towards the person's office, I guess. She said later, Kohlberger wasn't talking to her about anything important. She said when she came back, he asked her where she had been. She told him it was none of his business. She said BK had bloody knuckles at the time. She said the wounds were bad. She said BK recently started wearing a giant puffy jacket. Even to class, she found this odd. My dog's just getting comfortable. Okay. Okay, back to reading. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I was like really fast. She said one time in November, she found, I read that part. Sorry. She said Kohlberger said if he were to ever, oh my God. Redacted said if Kohlberger said if he were ever to have a sexual partner, they would have to have no physical or mental disabilities. They would have to be straight and the opposite of gender non-conforming. Well, I'm out of there. Count me out. BK, I wonder who your first sexual partner will be with. Peru? I mean, I like the name Peru. I do. It's a pretty name. It is. Oh my God. Well, I'm physically and mentally messed up. So go me. I'm safe. I can't believe he said this. He said if you were ever to have one, put this on Court TV so he can watch it. Wow. So he's never had a partner. Never been with a woman. Oh my Lord. 28 years old, 30 now. Oh, his birthday's coming up too. Almost 31. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but So this person discussed her beliefs that school resource officers were used to discriminate against minority populations in high school. Redacted said Kohlberger disagreed and denied there were inequalities and said everyone was equal. Okay. She felt he was perpetuating the same myths she was trying to bring up. She said some people in the program thought he might have autism. Did he overhear them and say something like that? And he was like, oh, I'm going to use that in court. She thought BK was a narcissist. BK said, or she said BK was a vegan. BK said Kohlberger knew she was married because she had brought her husband to a get-together barbecue. Her husband said BK had a discussion at the barbecue. After this discussion, her husband told her that he did not like BK and wanted her to be careful around him. She said she would see BK on a daily basis. She said all the time she interacted with BK, he had never displayed empathy towards another person. She was unaware of any reason for Kohlberger to travel to Moscow or any other local towns in the area. She had heard BK was into boxing as a hobby. She said when she first heard about the homicides in this case, she wondered if it could have been BK. That's 2 people now. Y'all should have called this in. BK said, or she said BK was the only student in the class that believed in the death penalty. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he don't. No, he don't. No, we don't. No, we didn't. We know that now, right? Okay, so he was Billy Badass, tough guy, and in college. I believe in the death penalty. I think the death penalty should be used. I think that I believe in that. 3 months later, that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? Or 3 years later, like the SpongeBob thing. And then you have, him pleading with the freaking prosecution. Please don't put me on death row. I don't want the death penalty now. Change my mind. Thanks, Ishi. Sitting on my hands. Thank you so much. This is a lot. This is a lot. We're going to have to go back through some of this. I mean, I'm going to have to, I wish I could highlight right now just so I could, as I was going, you know what I mean? That would have been like perfection. But I'll go back through all 556 pages. I don't care. I'll do it. This is insanity. So we're just learning all kinds of things. We're learning all kinds. Okay. So then she said Kohlberger was the only student. Okay, that believed in the death penalty. Kohlberger asked her if her 12-year-old daughter was AR'd and murdered if she would support the death penalty. Wow. He went there. Man, he went there. So she noticed that Kohlberger was regularly late for classes where a female is instructing and rarely when a male was instructing. She said that on one occasion, Kohlberger expressed to females in the class that once he was in the job market, they would be screwed in competing against him for a job. He was competitive, but he didn't have anybody to compete with because nobody liked him. She said she wanted to think he was just socially inept, but after knowing him, she believes that he always thinks he is the smartest person in the room and he has expressed resentment or jealousy at their successes. Yeah. She said BK is always the first person to express his support of police. She again mentioned her and BK's disagreement about the value of SROs in school. She said she believed Kohlberger questioned about if someone else was also arrested after his own arrest was an attempt by him to throw people off and not that he had a friend or acquaintance. That probably sting. She said she had heard Kohlberger had attended a mixer at the Redacted that she did not attend. She noted that she had been told that he had drank a bottle of wine by himself at this event. That's 4 glasses of wine. I don't know. She said she had not heard Kohlberger discussing knives or how to cover your tracks at a crime scene. She said Kohlberger has discussed theoretically about sexual burglars. She said Kohlberger is very nosy and tries to look at what other people are texting. She said her friend Redacted had Kohlberger over to her apartment on one occasion and told Redacted that she thought BK had gone through her medicine cabinet. We still haven't read anything about the OCD thing, about how he went in the medicine cabinet and he put the bottles up. We have not heard anything about that yet. So I just wanted to remind you because I just remembered that. So she said she had not heard, she said she had not heard BK talk about offender study and victims' behavior before committing a crime. She suggested we speak with, and it's redacted, because she felt BK would have discussed his interest in studying violent sexual crimes. She said BK committed these homicides because he wanted to know what it felt like to commit these crimes in relation to his studies, and ultimately, if he could get away with the crimes, further supporting his belief that he was smarter than others. Yeah, I could say that's true. She said committing these crimes and his need to control others is constant with his personality. Well, where he's at, he ain't gonna be the one doing the controlling, I don't think. Unless he gets into a gang or something quick. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he just shave his head now and get some tattoos in there. So this is for Brian Kohlberger, has Maddie and Kaylee as the victims. And there's all the kinds of witnesses. We've got 12 witnesses. Oh, it looks like they might have maybe given over cars. So Detective Van Leuven interviewed, it's redacted, on several occasions beginning on November 15th. Is this one of the girls that live there maybe? I interviewed redacted at the Idaho State Police District 1 office on November 15th. Okay, this is Jack. Jack was the ex-boyfriend of victim Kaylee Gonzalez. Jack had been dating Kaylee since they were in high school and dated on and off for approximately 5 years. He said that they had broken up approximately 3 months earlier due to her taking a job in Austin and that it had been a mutual decision with no drama. He advised that he was driving and it's redacted, and something else redacted. So 2 cars. He said that his vehicle was owned by Kaylee's parents and that they were allowing him to drive the vehicle. Wow. That's really nice of them. Jack advised that he lived in Moscow with a number of roommates, and he listed the roommates. Okay, and this is, I asked him to describe his whereabouts and events leading up to the time that the homicides occurred. On Saturday, November 12th, Jack advised that he was at work at the redacted from 2:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., working mostly in the kitchen. He drove home to the duplex and went upstairs where he found his roommates. Also present was a friend who was not a roommate. It gives the name. They all went downstairs, or he went downstairs, changed into a sweatshirt, got a beer, and waited for a sober driver who was a freshman to come pick them up. He said that the sober driver arrived, what he thought was in a black Nissan Xterra, and took him and his friends to the corner club. He said they arrived at the corner club around 11 p.m. He said the club was packed and that they were admitted in because his roommate, Adam, was working at the club and let them in. He said he got into a confrontation with a fraternity member named Redacted because Redacted had been messing with one of his friends. His friend told him to lay off, and then they bought each other a shot. Okay, so that could have been the confrontation that people have been talking about, that Ethan and Xana and someone at the fraternity got into. It was not them. It was Jack, it looks like, at the corner club got into a confrontation. And then they bought each other a shot. So he said that he saw Kaylee at the club that night. It was not uncommon for Kaylee to be at the club. Jack said he thought that Kaylee was accompanied by, and it's going to be Maddie and then the other girl that was with him, who was Redacted's girlfriend. He said he left at approximately 1 a.m. He said they all were picked up by the club, by the president of the fraternity, who returned them to their apartment. He had consumed 2 beers, 2 shots of tequila, 1 shot of Rumpel Minz, and a 32-ounce tub of beer. Wow. Said after returning to the apartment, he hung out with his roommate for a period of time, tried to throw up, but couldn't, and went to bed. I would want to throw up too after that. Jack said he woke up, oh my gosh, he was probably so hungover too the next day. And then all this stuff is going on. Can you imagine? I mean, being a college student, Saturday's game day. So everybody goes out for the game day. You start drinking early because it's a noon. I think it was a noon game. So you're drinking at 9 a.m. You're starting early. You just are. So he had been drinking like all day, all night. Sure, there would have been a hell of a hangover, the next day. And he wakes up to people waking him up. We think Kaylee's dead. Like, oh my God. Your head's pounding. You don't know where you're at. The floor, everything's spinning when you're hungry. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I don't drink. But, I used to in my 20s, so I could feel that. And then, you got to get the dog, and you got to take care of the dog, and you got to just figure out what the hell's going on. It's just, that's sad. So it says that they, on Saturday, November 13th, a couple people came to the apartment and talked about cops being down the street near Kaylee's house. He tried to call Kaylee on the phone, but no answer. So Jack said he walked down the street where Kaylee's apartment was and saw, I think it was Maisie, but who was Ethan Chapin's sister. He said he asked one of the officers on scene to tell him what was going on and told an officer that his ex-girlfriend lived in the house. He said the police put him in the back of a patrol car for about 45 minutes. Also present, sitting with Redacted, was another person who was a good friend of Kaylee's. At some point, the University of Idaho put out a text university-wide announcing a homicide had occurred. At my request, he drew a sketch of Kaylee's apartment and labeled the rooms by the names of the persons he knew to be living in each room. I have attached these drawings to the supplement and we will transfer them to the Moscow Police Department. Okay. I asked him if he had any idea who could have been responsible for committing these homicides. He advised me he had seen a video from Grub Truck on Main Street the night before showing a fraternity member named Jack Showalter seeming to follow Kaylee and Maddie from the area of the Grub Truck before they went home. He also advised that he had heard from Redacted that the man named Redacted had been acting predatory at the Corner Club the night before and that the Corner Club had kicked him out. I think that was Jack. I also asked Redacted to describe, or Jack to describe the vehicles the four victims drove. Jack advised Maddie Bogan drove a white Chevy Cruze, Kaylee drove a silver Range Rover, Ethan drove a red Jeep Wrangler, and Xana Kernodle drove a blue Honda Civic. We took a break and he left the room to speak with his mother, who was concerned. Upon returning from speaking with his mother, he said he did not want to continue the interview without a lawyer being present. We stopped the interview and then he left. So then he returned on November 17th, accompanied by his attorney, Jed Nexon. After a brief recap of what we had discussed on November 15th, we discussed talking with Jack about his recollections about what happened on the night of the homicides. He said that he and his friends got back to their apartment a little after 1 a.m. He said his bedroom was on the main floor. He said he hung out with his friends for about 10 to 15 minutes. He advised he was drunk. I asked him to estimate on a scale of 1 to 10 how drunk he was. He said he would put his intoxication at an 8 out of 10. Jack advised he had never experienced memory lapse, had never walked in his sleep, and had never acted while asleep. He advised he went to bed at approximately 1:20 a.m. He said when he woke up the next day, he noticed that he had a number of missed calls from both Kaylee and Maddie. There were approximately 7 calls, or 7 from Kaylee and 3 from Maddie. He said that there had been no argument with Kaylee the night before and that there was no dispute and no one was upset about anything. I noted in looking at phone records that there had been several text messages the night before between Jack and Kaylee. The last message from Kaylee to Jack at 2:15 a.m. telling him that she had his vape and that he could pick it up at her house. That's why the vape was underneath of her. I advised Jack there appeared to be a telephone call at 2:26 a.m. between him and Kaylee, and it lasted approximately 17 minutes the night before. Jack said he did not recall the phone call and cannot explain it. He said maybe in his sleep he thought it was an alarm and he pushed the side button of the phone to turn the ringer off. I have learned that Jack had referred to the Redacted because one of his professors was concerned about, it's all redacted. Okay. It says he said that he had been missing more classes than normal and that the breakup with Kaylee had been bothering him. He talked about her going to Texas and the fact that she had initiated the breakup. I asked Jack directly if he had committed these murders. He stated clearly that he did not. He consensually gave a DNA sample at my request. He also consensually gave his cell phone to be downloaded. I later took the DNA sample and transferred them to the custody of Moscow Police Department. Okay, he signed and had the consent forms. The remainder of the conversation with Jack on November 17th involved victimology-related questions. Okay. I had a number of follow-up questions and interactions over the course of this investigation. Vital with, and it's redacted, was cooperative and helpful throughout. On November 18th, 2022, Redacted consented to a search of his room, bathrooms, common areas, and downstairs laundry of his apartment in Moscow. Forensic scientist Carrie Hogan, Idaho State Police Detective Jeff Talbot, and I entered the apartment at 2117 on the 18th. After searching the areas that had been consented to, we found a drop of possible blood on a wall of the entryway. a sample of this was collected. We also noticed what could have been 5 to 6 small drops or runs of blood on a kitchen wall. Samples were also collected. This search and collection of possible bullet drop samples was documented through photographs by forensic scientist Hogan. We left the apartment at 2020. Documents related to the consent, including the consent form and maps and pictures prepared by Redacted, are included on the disc. Okay. So then it says, I had additional follow-up questions on November 18th, November 21st, and November 22nd. And they were recorded and put on a disc. So Jack advised that he and Kaylee were co-owners of a mini golden doodle named Murphy, who was 11 months old. Murphy had been in the house with Kaylee and the others on the night of the murders. And then on the night of the murders had occurred. On January 4, 2023, I contacted Jack through his attorney, Jed Nixon, and asked him to bring Murphy to the Idaho State Police office in Coeur d'Alene so I could take samples of Murphy's hair. Jack brought the dog in, and I clipped samples from 3 places: the top of the head, the mid back, and the front chest area. The samples were transmitted to the Moscow Police Department. Okay. Little Murphy trying to help, Little Murphy trying to help out. So then they interviewed a PhD student at Washington State University. It was a male. Oh, that's him. So this person was female, 25. Okay. Let's see. So Michael Leuven, that's what I say. Interviewed PhD student at Washington State University. She advised she was, and it's redacted, and had completed her undergraduate degree also from WSU. Her advisor was redacted. Her mentor was redacted. Knew Brian Koberger as a fellow PhD student. She first met him at orientation. She had been in his office a few times. She also met him at a barbecue that the department had in August. She said Koberger had tried to have personal conversations with her on a few occasions, asking questions like where she lives, what kind of dog she owns. She said BK would make self-aggrandizing. Hold on. What's this?
Self-aggrandizing.
Self-aggrandizing. I'm gonna look that up. It's probably not even. It's not going to even tell me what it is. Does that mean like making yourself feel important? Yeah, promoting oneself. Okay, that's what I thought. So BK liked to talk about sexual burglary because that was his field of study. BK was interested in the emotions of what it felt like when committing a crime. She said that by October, BK was having issues with other students in their PhD cohort and that he was talking to her more in her office. She described having to clean up a mess he and his fellow teacher's assistants had created working for Redacted. Oh, OCD much? Arya. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. If you guys don't mind, just take a second, hit the like button. It really does help the channel. I wonder how many likes do we have? I usually don't even look until the end. We're at 81. We have 182 people in here. If we can get the likes up to like 100 or 150, I'd be so happy. I'd be so excited. That would be so exciting. And it's free. And subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're from in the chat. We'd love to know. So it says here, Koberger asked if she was single. She discussed her relationship with her partner. He asked about other friends of hers and if she was interested in getting together outside of school. She said she was not interested. She said she had told him she had been redacted, and he stated that he did not date broken women. BK, you don't date nobody. What are you talking about? That's what I would have said to him. You ain't dating nobody. Look at you. Nobody's dating you. He had discussed how he attended, I'm going to say DeSales, maybe, and described it was a small rural college in Pennsylvania. He advised that he had been taught by police officers. No, he didn't. He wasn't taught by police officers. You're a liar. Referring to the Moscow homicides, BK had stated that whoever had committed the homicides must have been pretty good. This conversation occurred approximately 3 weeks after the homicides occurred. They discussed the idea that students were getting ready to leave for winter break right after when the homicides occurred, and that this timing made it a good choice by the murder. Redacted did not know what kind of car BK drove or if he even had a car. BK never mentioned friends or family to her. He discussed liking to hang out in the forest. She found this odd because of the lack of forest in the area. She said BK never discussed knives with her. Regarding complaints of Kohlberger's behavior, she said she had made a few complaints. She had been directed to copy her complaints to someone else. It's redacted. She was reluctant to do this because she had not had good experiences with this place in the past. She said BK was insulted that the department had brought on 2 women to fix his grading work as a TA. She discussed finding BK's Reddit, discussing his research. She also said she had found his SoundCloud. The Reddit included him surveying ex-convicts about their emotions when committing crimes. After the homicides had occurred, he said he had a few scrapes right now. The statement was made at the Christmas party. She noticed that after the homicides, BK was at the office more. She observed him often in his office. She assumed he was coming back to the back for the spring semester because he had asked about a theory class that they would take in the spring. Sorry. She said she didn't observe anything specifically about BK that pointed to the homicides besides his focus on policing and comments about women having a harder time getting a job as a professor, especially when he hit the job market. She said BK had conflict with, and it's redacted, questioning her immigration status and insinuating he was superior to her in his research abilities. Questioning her immigration status? Are you out of your damn mind? She said Kohlberger was always late when there were female instructors, said the female students, okay. They had a whiteboard in their office where they kept track of the number of times Kohlberger was late. BK was a vegan, a strong Catholic. Yeah, I can believe that too. And that he did not drink. Okay. She did not recall BK ever disparaging comments about members of the Greek system. She said Kohlberger enjoyed conflict and was disparaging towards women. She described an outburst BK had regarding a grade he had received. She said in the approximately 40 times she had been around BK, she had never observed him exhibit empathy towards others. She said Kohlberger did not like the fact that she discounted the offender in studying sexual assault cases. He said she was being dismissive of the offender. He thought she should be focusing on the offender and what they left behind. He thought the offender had a stronger impact on the crime rather than the victim. No, you don't. She said he thought he was dismissing what she was doing just to argue. She said he was dismissive towards women and not men. She said it did not cross her mind that BK may have been responsible for the Moscow murders. She said Kohlberger always seemed reclusive. She said he didn't get the hint that she wanted him to leave when he was in her office. She said she had to leave her office in order to get him to leave her office. She said she thought BK used it's redacted. She further said they had private lockers available to students that could be assigned individually. I later contacted the redacted to inquire if BK had a locker there. They advised he did not. She said she had never met anyone who acted in such a condescending manner and wondered why people in power in the department did not address his behavior. Me too. The way he spoke to females in the department was unsettling to them. In reference to the Moscow homicides, he would say that it was horrible. In discussing whether the murder would be caught, he said maybe it was one and done type of thing. She said BK sometimes discussed the evidence left behind at crimes and how an offender might mitigate against that by wearing gloves. These statements were related to her research work and not specific to the homicides or Moscow homicides. She said he did not discuss vehicle surveillance or weapons that could be used, but did talk about the time of day that offenders might choose. Okay, oops. This cord's like right there. I don't want to step on that. She talked about how there were conversations about how Kohlberger might be an incel in relation to his Reddit page and his confrontation with redacted. She said Kohlberger had a bad interaction regarding a front office undergrad staffer. This person mentioned problems they were having with Kohlberger. She said the students were told not to leave redacted alone with Kohlberger. That's crazy to me. She said the undergraduate students, Kohlberger was a TA for, a 101 class. 3 female students from that class told redacted that Kohlberger was an awkward guy who would hang around and try to contribute to conversations that he was not a part of. She recalled one of these students who was named, and she gives the name. She said no one wanted to talk to Kohlberger or hang out with him based on how he talks to women and treats women. People in the department thought he was possible future rapist. Oh my God. Putting this page number down. Are we kidding? Are we kidding with life right now? We've got people saying, I thought he, right, 2 people, I thought he committed those murders right after the murders. And then, oh my gosh, we're just hearing it all. We're hearing it all. They thought he could be a future R word. I don't know. Redacted said she would not have pegged BK for committing the Moscow homicides. Well, but you could, okay, that makes no damn sense. Okay. If you can R someone, you can murder someone, in my opinion. All the interview was audio recorded. I'd love to have that. Let me see how long the next one is. Okay, we'll read through this one and then we'll probably stop there for now. Okay, so on November 18th, Detective Sergeant Michael Van Leeuwen interviewed somebody with a date of birth 1994 in regards, or that dropped Kaylee and Maddie off. So that's going to be, I don't know, at their apartment prior to the homicide. It's going to be the DoorDash. I'm sorry, that like the Uber driver they kind of had on call. So as Redacted was one of the last people to see the victims prior to the homicide, he was the person of interest in the investigation. Wow. He cooperated fully and completely with our inquiries. Redacted provided his telephone and consented to a search of the phone, as well as providing us with the password for the phone. The phone was downloaded during the interview and returned back to him before he left. The consent form for the phone was scanned and the scan placed on a disc given to Moscow police. He also consented to giving us a sample of his DNA. He removed his shirt and allowed us to look for any injuries he might have had on his arms or torsos. No injuries were observed. Interview was recorded. He advised that he was the driver for both Redacted as well as Redacted. He shows his car, tells about his car. We cover some biographical history regarding Redacted. Okay. On November 11th, 2022, he had worked until 3 a.m. He started driving again between 10:30 and 11 a.m. on the 12th. Beginning at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, he had steady work until 3 or 4 in the morning. He advised his wife was not a fan of him staying out late driving, but that weekend she was out of town with her parents in Hayden, Idaho. He advised that he had given Kaylee 10 to 15 rides since the last school year. He said he had also given Maddie rides, but didn't know about Ethan and Xana. He said that around 10 p.m., Kaylee had texted asking for a ride to the corner club. He thought that there were 3 girls on that ride. He advised he drove them directly from the house where Kaylee lived to the club. He advised he had driven this route several times before. He said he doesn't remember what the conversation in the car was about on the way to the club. He said he has not heard or overheard any problems from the group of people that Kaylee is usually with. He said he tries his best not to be a creep. He said he got another text from Kaylee at 1:45 a.m. asking to be picked up at the grub truck. He said when he picked up Kaylee and Maddie at the grub truck, Kaylee sat in the front, Maddie sat in the back. He said he drove the 2 girls directly from the grub truck to their house. He said that Kaylee was a little more drunk than Maddie. I beg to differ, but okay. From the video, it looked like Maddie was drunker than Kaylee, but I don't know. He said that when he got to the house, maybe it started hitting her, when she got in the car or something. But he said when he got back to the house and the lights were on and that there were 4 cars parked in the driveway, he noticed a black SUV on the left side sticking out. He also said there was a silver car on the road. He did not notice anyone walking on the road. He watched the girls go into the house. He said on this occasion, they didn't pay him for the ride. Okay. So he said that this was not unusual and that he expected that they would pay him later. He said he never gave rides for free and that there was always the understanding that they would pay. He said that he had never been to the house or anyone's house as a driver. He advised that the girl's state of inebriation was pretty standard. He said that this ride was off the books, meaning that it was not managed through, I think it's like, Uber. The girls had his number and contacted him directly. He said that 5 to 10% of the rides he gives are off the books. He said that he did not go back to the girl's residence that night. When asked to provide an alibi, he stated that he was home at the time of the homicides. He said he could support him being home at the time of the homicides by providing security footage from around his house, showing his vehicle parked there and what time he got home. I asked him to provide a copy of the footage, and he did, or he said he would. I was later advised that he had brought a copy of the footage. Okay. So he said that he first became aware of the homicides through the vandal alert text. He said he was shocked that this kind of thing never happens in Moscow. When asked if he had any idea who had committed these crimes, he described an event that occurred approximately 1 month ago at a public restroom downtown near Friendship Square. He said he stopped to use the bathroom at 1:30 to 2:30 a.m. and there was a thin-build white male in his 30s with tattoos, approximately 5'10" tall, in the bathroom wearing a white tank top and sharpening a fillet knife at the sink. Ooh. Okay. Well, let's see what we'll talk about later. We'll go just kind of skim. Look at this one's long. Trying to see. Something about a stranger. Oh, okay. Look at this. Someone that was took criminal justice classes with Koberger. He seemed kind of smart, not weird, just off. Okay. Let me go back up. I think we're right here. Okay, so we're on page 485. We're getting there slowly. I feel like I'm down too far now because I put my chair down a little bit. Okay. I feel like I need a taller chair. I don't know. I just got this one, but I didn't even know that you can actually go backwards. I think that's how you do it, or maybe yeah. See, I could be cruising right now. If I could sit back and read. Hey, Chopper, how you been? Whose wife? Oh, really? His wife left him? I kind of get that vibe from him too. That he was kind of creepy. Yeah. Oh, that sounds like fun, going on a hike. Oh, you have cataracts. Oh, Captain. Vincent did DoorDash. He did DoorDash in a BMW. I'm like, what are you doing? But he actually did Uber. And then I think he did DoorDash for maybe not very long. Maybe it wasn't DoorDash, but I know he did Uber, at least Uber. We first started dating and now he's an engineer at a hospital. So proud of him. I'm so proud of him. He's doing big things over there. He's doing big things. So we might actually be moving next year. You never know. You get in here. Oh, you get on your blanket. Come on. Here you go. Come on. I got to order you a bed today. I got to order the dog's beds today. I just don't know which ones that we had before. I want the same ones that we had before. I don't know if you guys remember. It's been forever now. But we had gray beds for the dogs. And when we had the beds, they actually slept on them. So we could actually sleep in our bed and be comfortable, right? Not have two big dogs and a cat there. So I need to order them beds today. Rocky's actually sleeping in his little bed right there right now. He got sick earlier today, my poor cat. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't I think he just, I don't know, a little belly upset. My stomach was upset this morning too. I was like, what's up with us? What's up with us? Yeah, the driver is creepy. Right. Chopper, every time I watch him in court, I get peed off. Especially the first court appearance when he in the red, when he's walking through. And it's you knew right then and there You could have stopped this whole thing, but he decided not to. I mean, it did give us something to talk about for the last 2.5 years, but they're so lazy. That's funny. We never take our dogs on hikes. We should. I don't know if they would. I don't know how long they last. I take them on a walk around, like the walk's pretty long. It's about a 15-minute walk. They go 3 times a day, and then we take them to the side yard 3 times a day. They get taken out a lot. Because if Mia doesn't, she will just bother you. She doesn't bother Vincent. Those dogs will go 10 hours without a bathroom break with him here. They will not go more than 2 hours with me here. I'm like, what is up with this? I don't get it. I don't get it. And thank you guys all for being here today. I appreciate it. Oh, he was giving the alcohol? Oh, I didn't know about that. That's weird. But also, everything we just read was weird. I mean, I got to go back through all that. My brain is trying to process everything that we just went through, and I'm like, what? What did he do? He will not have a sexual partner or a partner at all if you are broken, mentally disabled, or physically disabled. Well, good thing I don't like you, Brian. That's crazy to me. He said if he'd ever have a sexual partner. I don't feel bad for him. Wish I could say I do, but I don't. Let me jump over to X real quick, and we'll see if anybody's doing anything over there with Brian. Okay. It's going to be all about this sexual harassment. I beat JLR on that story. I was pretty proud of myself because he'd be pushing out the content fast. I beat him by like 30 minutes too. I was like, yes. I'm in a competition with myself. That's my competition. I usually don't care to get things out first. You know me. If it comes out during the day, I'll put it on the community tab. If not, we'll talk about it that night. It's not like I don't see it. You know, we just always usually do our lives at night. It's just all about him and, you know, the sexual harassment. What's this? Okay, let's see this really quick. I mean, this is only like a minute of it. I might have to find that whole segment.
Give me your initial impressions on the handwriting that you're seeing on these complaints.
Sure, it's so great because last time it was like having just one piece of a map, and you're like, "Hey, tell me more," because you're like, "Bart, tell me if he's evil and he's treacherous," and I was like, "I can't
remember this
actually,"
guy.
but now we can. So we have like this weird, shy, anxious guy with low self-esteem and frustration, and he's got a trait called recalcitrant, which means he's stubborn and defiant like a child. And he also has something really interesting that I have hardly ever seen in real life, which is basically most books call it a felon's claw or a injustice, a revenge seeking, and that's in this really odd D. And I want to caution the viewers at home: don't look at your writing and just assume that what I'm saying applies to you, because it's not that way. You're not a felon if you have this, but it does mean he's pissed off, he's angry, and he feels like everything is unjust. He reminds me of what they call an incel. Like if you think of the stereotypical incel, just some guy in his basement mad at the world, mad at women. That's his personality. He just never grew up.
So this we're showing on the screen is the D that you're talking about. You said it's called is it a D claw and a felon's claw? Give that to me a little more clearly. Like, what does that exactly mean when you've got that very unusual D?
So just to be clear, I've never put this in my books because I didn't like using the word felon's claw relating to anything, because people would read it and think, oh, I'm a bad person. But it does mean that people have anger and unresolved resentment going into the past, and they need to get it out. So I think it's unfair to call someone a felon. In this case, obviously you can, but the average person is like, yeah, I'm mad at my brother, mad at my sister, and it's unresolved hate, and they tend to be revengeful. So here it is in the D. It appears in other letters in the Y's and G's and other handwriting. I've always found that to be a little dangerous when I see it in people's handwriting.
I'm cool. I don't do that. I don't do it. I just like I'm looking at this notebook right now and I'm like, no, my D's are put together. There was another one too that somebody said. I think it was him, and it had me looking at my handwriting. I'm trying to find another D. Oh yeah, look. I don't do that. Upload video. Like, yeah. I don't do that. Okay, well, I'm okay, cool. I'm not a felon. What did he say? A felon claw? That's felon claw D. Okay, let's right here. Look at this. Okay. So this person says, like, what's the psychology behind felon's claw? Were they abused as a child? Has anyone here actually met someone that had felon's claw in their writings? What is your experience interacting with that person? Okay, this was from a year ago. And someone wrote, it's a handwriting expert, they said that they are, which it's Reddit, but we'll read. The felon's claw is essentially an anger stroke consisting of an angle at the bottom of the downstroke followed by a reversed curve. I see it often in the letter D. This means the writer intuitively knows the Achilles heel of another person and goes directly to the jugular to put that person in their place. I also see it in the lower loops. It means the writer engages in hurtful behavior to others, but most likely behind closed doors or when no one is looking. Yes, it is caused by abuse. In fact, any stroke that has a left trend to where it should not be left trend has an abusive history to it. Okay. Now they want to elaborate. This person was not doing all that. Let's okay. Yeah, so that's what I got for you. I'll be back later tonight though. I'm going to I should have got your opinion. I'll have to look. Let me see if I can pull these up. Like open. Okay. I have a question for you guys. I don't know. You kind of have to see the mirror though. I'm about to take a picture of this really quick. Stay right here. Like stay right here. Okay. I need your guys' advice. A little opinion real quick before y'all leave. So right now in my hallway, I have these baskets. They're like huge, kind of like tall. And I have my blankets and stuff in there. And then I have we have a mirror. And I'm going to show you the mirror. And then I'm going to show you, I want to take those out. And I have like a tray with like some cute little decorations and some pillows. I want to take all that out and get a shoe cart for that. Like one of those ones that you pull out and your shoes like sit inside of it, you know? So I've been looking at shoe carts all day and I need your advice on which one to get. I think there's 2 in the running. Maybe there might be another one. If you don't like these 2, then we might be looking for more. I kind of like the brown one because of the wooden legs. I don't want anything that looks cheap, but that's why I'm going to get your advice. This one doesn't have a very good picture though. Okay, there's another picture of it. And then, yeah, that's a better picture. And then I'll get this one. Okay, I'll show you the mirror first. So this is the mirror at stage. Okay, that's the mirror. Okay, so I'm not really into rustic stuff, but that's kind of what this mirror, like the vibe it's given, right? So should I I have 2 little carts here. Okay. So I have this one here that has like the wooden legs, you know, like at the bottom. And like, I don't know, the blackware, like the hardware looks nice. Let me show you. And then this is just a picture of a guy sitting on it. They can support up to 330 pounds. I thought it would just be like a nice place to put our shoes, like, because we have like this hallway and it's kind of like our mud room almost. And then we have a hallway that goes this way, like right here. And I just want something nice there. Or do you guys like this one? So either one is the brown one, two for the black one. And we do have like black accents in our house. Do you have 2 huskies and 2 jackals? I don't know what those are. Oh, I have. That's what it, I'm keeping the mirror. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the mirror. I just got the mirror. I guess I couldn't keep the mirror. Why is the mirror ugly? You like the mirror? Okay, good. I was that mirror is actually on sale on Amazon right now. I think that we spent like over $100 on that thing, and it's on sale right now for $89. You guys are like one. Like the red, like the brown. This one. Because it would look cute with my little decorations on top too. And then like we have a closet like that we put our shoes in right now, and they're in like little tubs, like things. What I did was I went to actually Dollar Tree because I'm like, I'm not gonna put nice baskets in here. And I got those baskets they have that they're like felt or whatever. If you put a plastic bin from Dollar Tree inside of that, it won't like fold over and like collapse on you. So that's what I use for our shoes, and it works fine and stuff. But I'm just like, this is just something like nicer. I don't know. We can sit down on it, put our shoes on. So show the mirror again. Okay. See, that's why I'm like, and maybe I could get like a white one, but I don't know. But we do have the rattan, like whatever this look is. We have this look in our bedroom. So it would kind of like flow, and even the black would flow because we have black accents in our black and brown actually in our living room. So I know that's why I'm like, maybe we'll see what Vincent says. So yeah, don't use cardboard inserts. Use, the little plastic inserts, or they're like plastic bins at Dollar Tree. They're so ugly. Normally they come in the ugliest of colors. I got them in black. I got lucky, or gray. But if you put those inside of those baskets, the felt ones, I'll have to show you guys on a live. Then it works out great. But I thought maybe I can get, so Vincent, I'm throwing him under the bus right now. His mama watches my show. He's terrible at taking his shoes off. I'm telling you what, when I was a kid, you came in the door and I prayed anyway, every time that I didn't trip over my brother's size 15 shoe, because the shoe wouldn't move, you would. So you'd walk in, you take your shoes off. We did in our garage. That's just how we are. Vincent is Japanese. His mama makes him take his shoes off. I mean, they follow the customs, right? Take your shoes off. They even have that little like dip down. I don't know if you like, a lot of Asian homes, like not Asian homes in particular, but a lot of people that are Asians will have them, like where they have like a kind of like dips down or something, and you have your shoes right there, and then you like come up and it's just separated from your like carpet or your floors or whatever. So I take my shoes off and then I put my little slippers on. They're like just slides. And he'll be sitting on the couch with his shoes on. I'm like, what are you doing? I have a sign that says, no shoes, pretty please. At least I'm asking nicely. Oh, Tracy, that's okay. You can always go back. I mean, we'll be back on tonight too. We were just chit-chatting here now. We got a combination. I know it's like, I like the brown. Okay. So the only thing that I don't like about the brown almost is I don't know how tall it is. I'm gonna have to measure that. I hope it's not too short. You know what I mean? But if it's short, that's fine too. Cause I thought about putting a bench there. That was my first idea, like a wooden bench, like rustic wooden bench. But then I'm like, well, we need somewhere for our shoes. Like, because I have like these things on the back of the doors, like it's actually on the other side of this door. So I don't have to look at it. But where you put your shoes in, they're like plastic, those things. I want to get rid of those. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, have a good night, Ashley. I hope you sleep good. Is your nephew okay? I didn't see. I was looking to see. Okay. If she jumps off, that's okay. But I hope he's okay. That's like her. That little boy's her everything. So he's really, really sore today. Oh, tell him that I said he's tough. I think he's a tough cookie, and it must have been really scary for him. Granny has let him have popsicles all day. Oh yeah, he's gonna be baby for a while. He's a tough guy. Oh, that's so sad. That's just, man. Get some sleep. Get some sleep, Ash. And if we see you, we'll see you tonight. If not, we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure he's okay. Oh yeah, and you know what? He probably milking it a little bit too. He's probably like, I'm still a little sore. That's what Vincent was doing yesterday about his shots. Vincent hates needles. Like, I feel so bad for him. He had to get a flu shot, a TB test, another shot. He had to get blood drawn, all in like 2 days. So I was like, I felt bad for him. But thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. I'm gonna go get some stuff done. It looks like everyone's being good though. It's like, I love that. Oh, she's back here stretching. You're so cute. She's like, I know. She follows me. I will be back on, most likely I'll be back on tonight at 9:15. We'll read some more documents. We'll go through whatever we find. But I will see you guys all then. Have a wonderful Thursday. If I don't see you, have a wonderful Friday. I will see you then tomorrow if I don't see you tonight. If you guys don't mind, take a second, just hit the like button for me. I know it's like, oh my gosh, creators, when they ask you to hit the like, but it really does help the channel. It helps us get us out in the algorithm. More people watch the videos, and it really, really, really helps your girl out. Also, thank you guys for sharing my videos out. I noticed that in my mentions, and I really love that. So I appreciate you guys sharing my videos to your social media. So thank you guys again. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Bye.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know